Hello guys, now we shall be discussing regarding parvovirus. Okay, so we shall be discussing regarding parvovirus B19. Okay, we shall be discussing about a specific virus called as parvovirus B19, and obviously all of you should know that this virus belongs to a family called as Parvoviridae. Parvoviridae family. This belongs to a family called Parvoviridae family. Now, what are the important things? Important things are, first of all, we have to discuss about the genetic material of this. Obviously, this parvovirus has got its DNA. Normally, DNA is double stranded, right? But there is a single strand of DNA, and this DNA is how? It is not coiled, it is straight. Okay, and is it enveloped? It is not enveloped. In contrast with this, when we have studied the herpes viruses, I have told you we have got double stranded DNA. We have got double stranded DNA, and this double stranded DNA was enveloped like this. But compare this. Now, how can I write this? This is a linear DNA or coiled DNA, spiral DNA. It is a linear DNA. Is it a single stranded or double stranded? It is a single stranded DNA. Is it enveloped? No, it is non-enveloped. And what about this? This is your herpes viruses. Herpes family, herpes virus. All the different types of herpes virus, whatever you have studied, right, starting from the 1 till 8, there are 8 different types of herpes virus, right? In all these 8 different types of herpes viruses, you will have this thing. But in Parvoviridae family, the Parvovirus B19 has got this genetic representation. So this is very important. You have to know the differences of the genetic material. Next important thing is that what are the diseases it is going to cause? What are the diseases it is going to cause? The diseases which are caused by Parvovirus B19 are called as slabbed cheek syndrome. Is called as slabbed cheek. This is called as slabbed cheek syndrome, or it is also called as fifth disease. Fifth disease. We have studied that HHV6 is sixth disease and Parvovirus B19 is fifth disease. Okay. How this is transmitted? Let us discuss about the transmission. Let us discuss about the transmission of this. Now, how it is transmitted is that two ways, either by respiratory droplets or by blood transfusion. Either by respiratory droplets or by blood transfusion. Either by respiratory droplets or by blood transfusion. So either of these two ways, either by respiratory droplets or blood transfusion, this gets transmitted. Okay. Now let us discuss about the pathogenesis, how the disease basically causes. Let us discuss about the pathogenesis. Regarding the pathogenesis, so let me draw the human face as usual, the lateral side of the face. Okay. Now, let us also draw that this is the nasopharynx. I am not drawing oropharynx. This is just a simple picture. Okay. I am drawing enlarged one lung, that's it, okay, to show the alveoli over here. And next what I am doing is that I am also drawing a capillary. This is called as a blood capillary, okay, this is called as a blood capillary. And next what I will be drawing is, I will be drawing a bone here. I will be drawing a bone like this. Okay, so what I'll be doing here, what I'll be doing is I'll be zooming the bone again. Right, now let us discuss what is happening with the patient. Now the first important thing is that, let us say these are the parvoviruses. Okay, so these are the parvoviruses over here, Parvovirus B19, and obviously all these are the respiratory droplets. With these respiratory droplets, the parvovirus entered into the patient. Now this parvovirus, straight away it will enter all the way down through the respiratory tract and it will land inside your alveoli. Okay, now from the alveoli what will happen? From the alveoli, this virus enters all the way into your blood capillary. Okay, from the alveoli it will enter all the way into your blood capillary. Parvovirus B19 enters into your blood capillary. Now from the blood capillary all the way it enters into your bone marrow. Okay, so from the blood capillary all the way it is entering into the bone marrow, and I am zooming out that what is happening in the bone marrow. All of you know one thing, that within the bone marrow you have got some specific cells called as proerythroblast. Okay, let us say this is a cell which I am drawing. I mean, this is not anatomically same, but this is just a rough representation. Okay, so this cell, whatever I am drawing here, this is a proerythroblast. Now what are all these receptor like spikes which I am drawing on the proerythroblast? These are called as P antigens. So but before that, let me name it that this is your proerythroblast. What is the function of proerythroblast? Tell me guys, what is proerythroblast? Proerythroblast is an early cell. Later on it will differentiate to form what? The erythrocyte. So proerythroblast, finally it will form what? Your RBCs, red blood cells. Okay, so this is an early cell, basically proerythroblast. So the late cell will be RBC. It will later on form RBC. So it has got this spike like things, spike like receptors or whatever it is. These are called as P antigens. P antigens. Okay, so this virus enters all the way into the bone marrow. From there, this virus goes and attaches to this P virus. Okay, so it attaches to this P antigen. It attaches to this P antigen. The moment it attaches to the P antigen, what will happen is that this entire virus enters inside the proerythroblast. Look here, it enters inside the proerythroblast. Now once after entering into the proerythroblast, what will happen is that it will use that proerythroblast to divide, I mean to replicate. Why it has used only proerythroblast? See, initially the virus entered into the pulmonary epithelium, the alveoli. Why it did not use the alveoli and why is it using the proerythroblast? The reason is that all of you know that proerythroblast has to undergo multiple divisions, right? Proerythroblast has to undergo multiple divisions of DNA to form RBC. Right, so it has to produce lots and lots of RBC cells. It means within the proerythroblast, the mitotic activity has to be too high. The DNA synthesis has to be too fast. So which phase of cell cycle synthesizes the DNA? The S phase. It means within the proerythroblast, the S phase is highly active. So for the virus, this virus uses that S phase to replicate very fastly, and that is the reason why it has used the proerythroblast, because the S phase within the proerythroblast is highly active. So let me make a note that the S phase is highly active. So these two things, one is the P antigen and the next one is the S phase within this proerythroblast is highly active. So these are the two very favorable points for this virus to stay within the proerythroblast, use the S phase, replicate it fastly. So it replicates so fastly like this. Okay, it replicates so fastly. Not only that, as these virus particles are getting replicated, along with this replication, it also releases some toxic proteins. Okay, it also releases some toxic proteins. These toxic proteins which are released, are called as NS1 proteins. NS1 proteins, which are also called as non-structural proteins. Right? So, as these virus particles are replicating within this proerythroblast, as they are replicating, along with the replication, they also release some proteins like this. So, let me draw those proteins here. See, these are the blue color proteins which you can see. They will also release some proteins, and these proteins are called as NS1 proteins. And you know what NS1 proteins will do? NS1 proteins will cause apoptosis of this proerythroblast. So, it causes the apoptosis of this proerythroblast cells. Now, when these NS1 proteins will cause apoptosis, these NS1 proteins, when they cause apop or apoptosis, both of them are same. I call it as apoptosis. So, when these NS1 proteins called apoptosis of these proerythroblast cells, what will happen? Do you think proerythroblast cells will further form RBC? No. So, there will not be any kind of RBC production. So, when there is no any kind of RBC production, it means can I write a note that there will be no erythropoiesis? There is no erythropoiesis. So, when there is no erythropoiesis, can I write that there is aplastic crisis, aplasia? I hope all of you know what is aplasia, right? So, there will be aplastic crisis, right? The RBC crisis, RBC aplasia. You see RBC aplasia. Not only that, in the pregnant woman, you would see hydrops fetalis. Hydrops fetalis in the pregnant woman. So, these are the major three important things which you would see in case of Parvovirus B19. Now, patient is going to have aplasia, that is the aplastic crisis, the RBC aplasia. So, all these factors are aggravated by, what are the triggers to cause aplasia and all of this? So, if a patient is having thalassemia, or for example, if the patient is having sickle cell disease, sickle cell anemia, thalassemia, or if he is having hereditary spherocytosis, in all these cases, what will happen is that these three cases are the risk factors for causing this aplasia. Okay. Now, I hope you understood why there will be aplasia, because the proerythroblast cells are damaged, that causes aplasia. Okay, fine. Let us look at the symptoms of the patient. When you concentrate on the symptoms, you will see flu-like symptoms. Not only that, you will also see joint pains, mainly the small joints of the hands. Okay, you would see joint pains, arthralgia, joint pains, mainly of the small joints. Where are they located? In your hands and legs. Okay, and next important thing is that, so when you do a physical examination, you're gonna find a rash called as erythema infectiosum. You're gonna find a rash called as erythema infectiosum. Okay, and that will progress to, this erythema infectiosum is lost, and that will progress to the next thing, that is called as slapped cheek rash or slapped cheek syndrome. Okay, that would eventually progress to erythematous maculopapular rash. Erythematous maculopapular rash. And where will you find this maculopapular rash? This maculopapular rash is found on the body, on the trunks and on the limbs, and they look reticular or lacy. Okay, and they are found on the trunk as well as on the extremities. So, let me show you the picture of that. So, as you can see in the first picture, this is a slapped cheek appearance, right? So, this would be your This would be your what? Slapped cheek appearance. Slapped cheek appearance. In the next picture also you can see this slapped cheek appearance very clearly. Along with that you can also see these erythematous rashes, whatever are there, maculopapular rashes, which are lacy like, okay, or reticular like a network. You can see on the trunk, you can see on the extremities as well. Okay. So obviously the treatment plan here also will be symptomatic. So this is all you need to know regarding the Parvovirus B19. Thank you so much for watching my video. Goodbye.